You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Right, Chris.
All right, welcome along, Leicester Till I Die TV. I'm going to say I did a special yesterday, but I just want to say again, RIP to Shaky. He will be forever synonymous with. Well, we've had different success through the years, but he will be synonymous, probably our biggest success ever. And, you know, that is obviously the Premier League winning combination. Well, the three, really. The promotion from the Championship, the Great Escape, and the Premier League winning side, then to be followed by a quarter-final of the European Champions League. So our thoughts go out to his family. Rest in peace, Shaky. Our thanks go to you as well. Right. Now, I was going to have Brad in with me today. He's been held up at work, as things do. So it is the transfer show. So thank you very much for joining us. Let's talk transfers and what the hell is going on at Leicester City. Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye, hello. Wherever you are in the world, one of those will apply to you. This is LTID TV1 from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us live on YouTube, if that is how you are watching, or via LinkedIn or Twitch, if those are the way you are watching. Please join in with the show and add your comments in the chat. We will get through and respond to as many as we can during the show. Okay. If you are watching on catch up, thank you very much for joining us. Did you bring a note from your mother? You're late. Please, though, add your comments below. We always do read them. Just obviously keep them respectful. And if you're listening rather than watching on wherever you get your podcast, thank you very much for lending us your ears. And remember, you can follow us on all the main socials. It's LTID TV on all of them. But this is the transfer show. Let's just see. We've got Doug. Doug is in. Hi, Doug. No Brad at the moment. Like I say, he's been held up at work. We may or may not be joined by Luke from down under. He can't work out the time difference between the UK and the US of A. And we may or may not be joined by a Crystal Palace fan. If you can't join, because it was short notice when I mentioned him, he has very, very kindly done me a video on Jordan Ayew, and that is, of course, Rich from Eagle Eye TV, great fan of the channel. And James is in as well. No, I'm not saying anything, but it's funny that the Liverpool and the Everton fan are two fans that aren't at work today. Now, I'm not saying nobody works in Liverpool. Yes, I know Doug's in Scotland, but that wasn't as funny. You could say that wasn't funny. And then just to prove that people are not working in Leicester as well, we're going to say hi to Spencer. How the devil are you? Now, the idea of doing this was that I was going to have a bit of a discussion with Doug, because as you can see from the picture just there, which is an old fox with a walking stick. What the hell is going on at Leicester City? Where have the transfer policy gone of getting these players in that are young, untested, giving them a chance, seeing how they get on? We're signing or attempting to sign all these old geezers. You know, those that watched it will know I am not a huge fan of the Cordova-Reid. I think he's too old. I think he's over the hill, as it says there. Why the hell are we buying him? You could say experienced. I'm saying over the hill. Which do you agree with, guys? Because, to be honest with you, I'm not impressed with that at all. And now we're after this guy, Jordan Ayew. I mean, he's older still. And he hasn't really even got that good of figures. Not as in figures as in shooting, passing, scoring figures, before anybody accused me of being sexist. But I do feel like I'm on Star Trek. Then we watched my favourite Star Trek, The Next Generation. Whenever they got up or sat down, they're always doing that with the uniforms, weren't they? Pulling it into position. I do feel that is what I'm doing. That's because of my big beer belly. And Luke is in as well from Nottingham. Hi, Luke. How are you? So, we may or may not be joined by different people as we go on, but I am absolutely thinking, what the hell is going on? Martin Glover, is he not still our... And before anybody says, right, this has got absolutely nothing to do with John Rudkin. I'm getting absolutely pissed off and fed up with people going, oh, that was John Rudkin, and that was John... Get yourself over to the Athletic, Rob Tanner's page, Leicester City page, either of those, and you'll see a really, really good piece on the gentleman concerned, John Rudkin, of his journey up through Leicester to being a trusted sidekick to top. He does not say this is the player that we should sign. He literally does what he does. If when it's decided a player we are going for, we've lost two people now watching. I guess that is people that were John Rudkin fans, or they've come back. But yeah, he does. John Rudkin does not go out and get players. He has nothing to do with the transfer policy until such times it comes to negotiating contracts. Now, if a manager has said, I want this player, and we've said, okay, we'll pay him £50,000 a week, and he comes back and says, actually, I want 70. And John Rudkin goes back and says, how much do we want this player? And they say, well, 70. We really do want him. And he says, well, it's 70, sorry. And they say, yeah, go for it. That's what he does. So basically, if anybody posts anything in the group or goes on about John Rudkin, we talk about cheap and easy journalism. That's cheap and easy blaming, to be honest with you. James Dunlop says, Reid is a weird one. As for Ayew, he'd be an okay squad player, but you want players to add competition. Reid and Ayew aren't really what I call... No, they're not. I agree. 100%, James. Look, Everton fans can see what's going on. Why can't people at Leicester? Ben is in. Hi, Ben. How are you doing? No, I don't know who leaves and comes in. It doesn't actually show me, mate. It was just funny that, just as I was saying about John Rudkin, the figures went down. Do not worry. So, yeah, look, Jordan Ayew. It's an odd one for me. It really is. As I say, as is Cordova-Reid. I'm struggling to know what they bring to the club. You can say experience, but look, I don't know if anybody remembers over the years, especially when we had our years when we were in league, the Championship as is now, we bought a lot of ex-Premier League players, ex-stars, if you like, old players. Did they work out? Did they not work out? Well, let's have a look at this, because here is what I'm saying. Now, occasionally work out. Do not get me wrong. And look, I put 3 examples where they worked out. And yes, I forgot to put their ages up when they signed. Esteban Cambiasso. Wow, look, that says it. That says some people go beyond expectations. And look, we loved that guy, didn't we? We absolutely loved him. Paul Dickov came at the back end of his career. Was he a success? Yes, he was. Tony Cottee, we all went, Martin O'Neill, what the hell are you doing signing Tony Cottee? But he had Emile Heskey alongside him, and he knew that Emile Heskey would do the running for him. And Tony Cottee's come out and said this. And we did an interview with Tony Cottee on this channel. Do check under the conversation playlist on LTID TV1. You'll see it's up on there still. He had the brain. His legs would not do the running, but his brain would. So his brain would get him into positions that he knew Heskey could get the ball into. Have we got anybody that can do that Heskey job now? No, because we don't play 2 up front. To be honest with you, Spencer, Stan Collymore wasn't. Actually, Stan Collymore was under 20. He was 29 when he signed for us. So I don't count that as old. I'm looking at 30 plus here. I did actually write, you probably can't see and you probably can't understand my writing, but can you see Collymore there? I did actually check him out as one of the good ones, but still a bit too young, couldn't really climb it. But look at these people that we have signed. Now, there are some great names on there, but can you say that any of those players were successful at Leicester City? Let's start with Ryan Bertrand. Played 1 friendly for us. Okay, he looked good. He got a good free kick in. We never saw him again for 2 seasons. Eldin Japokovic, I have to be careful how I said that. 32 when he signed for us. What? I mean, all right, he was experienced. He was the 3rd goalkeeper. He was number 3. Do we need somebody with that much experience as number 3? I don't think we do. And let's be honest with you. All right, we probably got him quite cheap, as in a lot of these, some of them were on free signings. But what were we paying for him weekly? Maybe not an awful lot, in fairness for him. Gary Taylor-Fletcher. Now, do you remember Gary Taylor-Fletcher? Now, I'll not be honest with you. He put the kit on, ran onto the pitch, and he looked like everybody's dad had come on a Sunday league match because nobody else was available. Yes. I mean, bless him. He didn't strike me as an Aguero, you know. And we signed him at 32. Michael Ball, re-signing, yes, at 32. And I can remember years and years and years ago, I did a post on probably Leicester Till I Die on Facebook. And it was one of those sort of pictures where it's a shadow, if you like. It's blanked out. And I've got the Invisible Man. Has anybody seen Michael Ball? And not the singer, although having said that, if we'd signed the singer, he might have actually played a few more games for us. Craig Hignett, 33 when we signed for him. Success. Dennis Wise. He's a very small man. But look, no, I mean, God. Roberto Solano, 35. You know, I mean, what a player in his heyday. But at 35? Really? Les Ferdinand, 35. Celez, as we called him. What a player. What a player. But not when he came to us. Brilliant signing. Did he bring anything to the club? No. Nothing. Nil, zilch. Nothing. Did nothing for us. And then Kevin Phillips, 41. The oldest man to ever start a game for Leicester City in modern history, I believe it was. The oldest man to score, possibly. He did score one. It was against Bournemouth, and his celebration was a Zimmer frame, which kind of says it all. I was there that game at Bournemouth, and it helped us towards promotion. He was also not only a striker, he was our striking coach, if you like. The idea being that it was going to help Ojoa and Vardy and Nugent when we got promoted to the Premier League. If you remember that first season, which was the Great Escape, we couldn't hit bloody Bella Embarg's arse if she was bent over. Ask your parents. I mean, you know, we were awful in front of goal. We just didn't want to shoot. And here was this Kevin Phillips who was supposed to be our striker coach. So I would say none of those, all signed post 30 years old when they signed for us, were absolutely rubbish. Experience, especially when you look at those that like your Kevin Phillips, your Ferdinands, your Solanos, Taylor Fletchers, they were all supposed to be strikers. Are any of those sort of in the top 300 strikers we've ever had at the club? No. So why are we targeting OAPs? We're going to turn into the Derby and Jones United at this rate. Again, ask your parents, guys. You know, I mean, I hope, well, I'm just glad this year that we are not in the Europa League, because we wouldn't be able to play any games in the Europa League, because every Thursday they'd all be down the post office getting the pensions. What the fuck are we doing signing these players that are past it? Yeah, we said about Stan, didn't we? I've got you had Solano and Les Ferdinand. Great players in their day. I am not saying that none of these players weren't good players. I'm just saying they didn't do anything memorable when they were at Leicester City. Well, Dennis Wise did something memorable, but unfortunately it was off the pitch. Sorry, Chris, we could do the Heskey routine this season with two up front, keep Daka as the pace forward and Vardy. That we could have two. You're quite right. The problem is, if one of those gets injured, we're then on cannon, and then you need another one. But we're not going to play two up front, I have very much doubt. That's the thing, Ben. That's the thing. And if you are going to have an old striker, Vardy's got the pace. But how many players at that age have got... I didn't have Vardy's pace when I was 16, let alone when I was 37. Yeah, look, but thing with Vardy is, yes, we've re-signed him. Of course we have. He has signed for one season, not like Cordova-Reid, and we'll come on to that in a second. He's only signed for the season. So a season I get. Give them a season because it would help the youngsters. But we're giving them 3 seasons in Cordova-Reid's example. Pretty sure it was him or Luke Varney that scored the winner for Blackpool. Again, Doug, yeah, it was at Blackpool. I think that probably was Gary Taylor Fletcher, but just shit for us, basically. Good old Dennis Wise is a very small man. Oh, yes, indeed. Chris Bowden, okay. Yeah, he was okay. Okay, we need players that are going to do more than okay. Look, we're going to struggle. We are not the Leicester City that finished 5th, 6th, 7th, or whatever it was in the last few seasons. We are the Leicester City that got relegated. We're the Leicester City that come back up. We're the Burnley of this season. We need players that are not just going to do okay. We need players that are going to go out and make a statement. And I don't think the likes of Ayew or Cordova-Reid are those players. Reminds me of Burnley a few years ago with all these older players. Yeah. I mean, all right, you need a mix. You can't win anything with youngsters. Blah blah blah. There's experience and there's old. Paul Gascoigne and David Genoa, great players in their prime, but we got them right at the tail end of their careers. Tell you what, man, I have seen Paul Gascoigne. He played for Burnley for a season, and I was going along and watching Burnley at the time, trying to get my kid into football. Yeah, trying to get my child into football, so I took him to watch Burnley. Who knew? And the thing is, with Gascoigne, again, his brain was up here. It was brilliant. But he was shit for Burnley because none of the other players could keep up with him or had any idea what he was going to do. You know, he wasn't playing with Premier League players. He was playing with lower championship rated players, and they could not. They had, you know, he'd lay something off and he'd know what he's going to do in his mind. They had no idea. Ben, I'll tell you what, put a bet on it, mate. And if you win, you can buy me a beer. I hope we can. But look, let's have a look at Cordova-Reid, shall we? Now, here he is, the man himself. 31 we've signed him for. Fulham, where he's at the moment, would only give him a 2-year contract. Now, when the club that you are at only wants to give you a 2-year contract, what does that say? If he was any good for Fulham, they would have said, here, have a 3-year contract. That is the first alarm bell that rings for me. Hi, Tommy. How you doing? He's agreeing with Ben. So like I say, when the club that you're at isn't going to give you as long a contract as you are prepared to offer, you should be saying, why? Why aren't they doing that? They only wanted to give him a 2-year contract. We give him a 3-year contract. So that means that at the end of that 3 years, he's going to be 34. In 3 years' time, if we're relying on 34 years old, we are absolutely up shit's creek without a paddle. I don't think I did I, mate? No, that's the same link, buddy. So we're giving him a contract till 2027. Now, let me tell you, this is his Premier League record with Fulham. He's only been in the Premier League with Fulham. He's played 129 games. Now, as you can see there from his, here we go. Let me get the man that doesn't know how to press a button in, because I tell you something. I sent him the right link, but he's just linkless. Hello, sir. How are you?
Mate, you stitched me up the time, stitched me up the link. What's going on? Sabotage here.
I did not set you up with the time. You just don't know the difference between Oz and UK time.
Look, I'm not going to lie.
I'm just worried now what time you're going to turn up at the airport to pick me up.
I don't know. Who knows?
And the link.
There you go.
The link. What room did it take you into?
Look, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I definitely clicked on the wrong link. I had a conversation with myself for 2 minutes and everything. I'm all warmed up, ready to go. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm just going to quickly go back to this. I've just gone through here, and my worry on this show, and the reason I've got Brad coming on, but he's been held up at work. You may or may not agree with me. I think the signing of Cordova-Reid was wrong. I think he's too old. He's not the sort of player we want. And when you look there, yes, occasionally signing, and it's a very thin line between, as I put at the bottom there's a famous book that have been written by Leicester fans of fossils and foxes. We're signing fossils. We're not signing foxes. We got players like that with walking sticks coming on. Occasionally it works out, as in Cambiasso, Dikov, Cotti, very good players. But then you look at the players over 30, and these are the ages when we signed them. Bertrand, 31. Now, I'm resting my case with Bertrand. I don't feel I need to go on. Jupokovic, 32. Taylor Fletcher, 32. Ball, 32. Hignett, 33. Wise, he's a very small man, 35. Solano, 35. Les Ferdinand, Celez, 35. Kevin Phillips, 41. Don't get me wrong, all decent players in their day. We signed Kevin Phillips. He scored 1 goal. Why are we signing? I mean, there is a very thin line, is there not, between being old and being experienced?
Yeah, okay, so I'm with you, by the way. I know we haven't given him a decent chance yet, but to me, Cordova-Reid doesn't fill me with excitement. No. He's not a prolific player. Again, like you said, he's 31 years of age. Now, we need someone like, for me, a good example of an experienced player that we need to bring to the fold is someone like Harry Winks. Harry Winks is a great example of someone they brought in at the right time, right age, and right experience. Yes, I agree. We need experience for the Premier League, but we want someone that's either established or, I know we can't always get what we want, but that doesn't fill me with confidence. And I don't know if you've talked about Ayew already or if you want to bring it up when Brad's here. But
we're going to move on to him, on to him next. Cordova-Reid, we've completed the signing for. 31 years old. We've given him 3 years. Fulham, the club that he was at, therefore, that know him, would only offer him 2. Now, if the club you're at is only going to offer you 2, and this was the point I literally was just making when you came in, but if the club you're at will only give you 2, surely that says something.
Yep, it does. It's just something about the board as well, giving these players 3-year contracts. Like Vestergaard's another one as well. Do you think we're honestly going to move Cordova-Reid on, or do you think we're going to be stuck with him and him possibly be a fringe player, particularly if Cooper gets sacked? Next manager comes in and goes,
he's on Premier League wages. And the thing is, this goes against everything Leicester do successfully in the transfer market. Buy young. Occasionally we don't. I accept that we can be at so what have you. And I don't know where Luke has gone.
I'm still here, don't worry. I'm just got a needy cat knocking at my door.
But I thought you got a problem with Thunderbird 5 then, with your headphones on. I thought, Thunderbird 5's in trouble. He's had to go.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Don't worry, mate. So, yeah, I look, let me just jump. Look at the positions. His main position is a right winger. Can you say confidently, if Fatawu is not having a good game, that you're going to bring this guy on and he's going to be better than Fatawu?
It depends on what system.
If you were watching that game and you think, Fatawu, he's not quite hitting the mark tonight. Oh, goody, Cordova-Reid's warming up. Yeah, you're not, are you?
Nah, but at the end of the day, we haven't got Al Brighton or Akron anymore, so we do need cover in that position. But frankly, I don't think he's going to play in that right wing. I think he's going to be playing more central midfield. That's the position he prefers to play.
But we've got Marchal. We've got.
He's not good enough.
And there's another one, I can't remember his name. Not Mavididi. There's another one. So we've got some youngsters there. We've
got McAteer as well.
That's it. Thank you. McAteer, yes. They've got who, let's face it, scored the other day in a warm-up game. All right, so let's put him in the centre then. Are you going to say that if Winks isn't performing, you're to take Winks off and put him on, or Ndidi off and put him on and feel confident? Again, I would hazard a guess, certainly for me, no.
Different positions he'd be playing. Regardless, he's going to be playing further up the pitch than Ndidi and Winks. But no, he doesn't fill me of confidence entirely. I think it's an uninspiring signing. And that could be hard. And I hope to be wrong, mate. I would love to be sitting here, egg on my face in 8 weeks' time. Do you know what I mean?
I would take that total 8 weeks. My God, you're going to miss a few games.
Yeah,
It's 5 weeks we kick off in May. I know there's a time difference with us, but I don't think it's a 3-week time.
What I mean is go into a role sort of thing.
No, I know. I am winding you up for comic effect. You could say that it wasn't very comical, but that's the point. But look, 129 games he's played for Fulham in the Premier League. He scored 20. That's 1 in 6.4 games. He's got 7 crosses. That's 1 in every 18 games he's played as a right winger. Now, I'm not talking about, when he's, if he's, these are when he's been on the pitch. 1 in 18.4 games, assists. You could play, although you probably get a red card, but you could play in that role and you'd get more crosses in than that. Assists than that. Crosses, 135, 1 a game. Is that good enough?
I don't want to give you a yes or no answer. On paper, it's a no, but
No,
I think
you've got to give me a yes or no. I'm going to push you to give me a yes or no answer. No. Are those stats good enough for a team that's going to be fighting for its life?
On paper, no. On paper, no. But at the end of the day, I'm sure you could get stats similar to one of our players that's had a good season, that when someone watches someone play week in, week out, they can say, well, actually, no, he does this or he does that, or he holds a ball up, he gets people in position, et cetera, fill in the blank. So until we talk to a Fulham fan who's watched a lot of him, we'll probably get a more clear answer. But on paper, with the question you just presented me, no.
Well, funny you should mention that. And can I just say, a player that we've actually had here at Leicester on loan, Curtis Davis, has actually announced his retirement. He's 39. Why don't we go and get him? I mean, he'd be a free signing.
Just seeing your thumbnail as well.
He's a spring chicken compared to Kevin Phillips. But I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm just looking. I did actually have a conversation with a Fulham fan. I'm just going to try and find it now and see, because he did actually send me. I don't think I can find it, because he did send me over a few lines about him.
You want me to rant for 5 minutes while you look for it?
I know I've been ranting, or I just think I just don't know why. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. So this is what the Fulham guy has said about Cordova-Reid, and this is a big, huge Fulham fan, and he does shows as well. Teddy, he's called. Solid squad player and versatile. Well, we can see he's versatile from his different positions. Not strong enough to start regularly. Able to pick up the odd goal here and there. Gets himself into good positions. Well, if you're getting yourself into good positions, you should be scoring more than an odd goal. Now, he said here, for free, and obviously we did get him on a free, he's a decent squad player. We will miss him. He was a great servant and played in so many different positions. Wanted a longer contract rather than the 1-2 year extension that we were offering him. And he did end that by saying, and I'm being fair here, good bit of business for you. I just don't know. And will he stop the youngsters coming through?
I don't. It remains to be seen. We haven't seen enough of him. I don't think so, no. I think he's probably going to be a squad player, but why sign a squad player for 3 years? That's what winds me up most about the whole thing. The length of contract is given. If it was like maybe 1 year or 2 year of performance, I could maybe get on board with it.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about some of the other signings, but I'll wait for Brad.
Well,
nice
I'm not sure whether Brad's going to join us or not, but we can come to those at the end of the show. So don't worry, we'll get those in, because I've got other signings and links as well that I want to talk about. I mean, Easy says here, and hi, Easy, how are you doing? What about key passes lead to a goal-scoring opportunity? Look, there are so many stats available. And obviously I could have put 10 or 12 stats up there. I wanted to try and keep it to the main ones, which for me are those for his positions, goals, certainly assists, and certainly crosses. Yes, there's a lot of others, like you say, passes that lead to goals and things like that. And there was a thing up that said how many passes he'd made, but we don't always, it didn't actually tell me how many of those were successful. We can all go on and make a pass, but if it's to opposition players. But no, I do take your point, Easy. I do take your point. Now I want to move on to this is the guy we're being linked with very heavily, Jordan Ayew at Crystal Palace. Now again, you can see his positions there, centre forward, and he can play on the right or left. So again, if you're looking at that, you're thinking, actually, yeah, players that can play in multiple positions, great. He's 32. He's still got a year left on his contract at Palace. So we're going to have to pay for him. He's not going to be a free. His record, and again, I'm using the same ones that I did with Jordan so we can compare them. With Bobby, made 274 Premier League appearances. He's got 37 goals. That's 1 in 7 games. Again, I will ask you before we move on, and it's a yes or no here, Luke. Is that good enough for what we would need? Because we've got a striker that could probably do that in Cannon and Daka.
Yeah, I'm dead against this one, to be honest with you. I think it's a waste of money. I know Ant's keen on it. He has his reasons. Football's all about opinions. Strong no for me. I think he's very, very experienced, definitely a respectable career in his own right. But for where we're at right now, no. And with the record, with the contracts we've been giving out for 3 years, that scares me even more. Imagine if we give him a 3-year contract, got him till he's 35, and then does his ACL in a couple of weeks. Goes, Rodkin.
He could be Bertrand Mark too, couldn't he? Again, he has 1 assist in 10 games. He has a cross every game and a half. I'm sorry, if you're on right wing, you should be getting more crosses in than that. I mean, Ipswich are going after Schmodic at Blackburn Rovers. We're going after Ayew at Crystal Palace. What the fuck? What I mean, who's getting the better deal there? All right, he might be cheaper. I bet you something he'll be at least 5 million. All right, but that's going to pay 10 million for Schmodic, who's an up-and-coming player. We know what he can do. He knows where the net is. He got 2 against us on the last day of the bloody season, for God's sake. Who's getting the better deal there, Blackburn or us?
Yeah, we're getting stitched up proper. I think he's gone to Ipswich, Schmodic, yeah.
I think there's look at our strike force. If we'd kept hold of Iheanacho, would Iheanacho have been any worse than that?
I think he's better. I think Iheanacho was a little disappointing in the last season. But I definitely, if I had to pick, I would much rather have Iheanacho over all of the signings that we've made, and I'd rather Iheanacho over Daka by a country mile.
Yeah.
So
Iheanacho has gone to Seville.
Yep.
Who are perennial? All right, they're not this year, but they're perennial European qualifiers. So he's not gone to a second-rate team. All right, yes, they've had a bad season. I think they were 14th in the Spanish league this season, but he's not. He's gone to a decent club, and then we're replacing. I know this probably is the wages, in fairness, but then I don't think Seville could offer to pay him that much. I just think it's the players we're letting go. The players we've got to get in have got to be better than the ones we're letting go. I'd as sooner have kept Albrighton for another year, because when he came on, at least he could swing that ball in and get a cross in. Would I sooner have Albrighton than Cordova-Reid at this stage? Yes. And look, if we sign this one as well, like you said, I hope they prove me wrong. But up front we've got Vardy, 37, right? what that man does is unbelievable. I mean, you know, I could say I couldn't run as fast as him when I was 16, let alone, you know, 37. But he's not the Vardy that he was when we signed him. You know, we have to accept that. You know, he's living on reputation a little bit. Yes, he was our highest goal scorer last season. That doesn't say an awful lot. You know, when you got midfielders like Dewsbury Hall that's nearly scoring as many as you got now that could be tactics, that could be anything else. But he's going to get injured. Look at him, he's bloody injured now, for God's sake, you know. And the thing is, he'll stub his toe and he'll be out for 8 weeks because of his age. And I get that. You know, I cut myself now at my age. And what would normally have taken me when I was your age, Luke, 3 or 4 weeks to heal, it's taking me 8 weeks. So things are going to take that bit longer. So if he's injured, we've got Daka. Okay, now, I know you don't like Daka, and I've got to say, I have defended Daka, not because I think he's the best player that we've ever had at the club and he's a new Gary Lineker. I've defended him because I think the stick he was getting was unfair. Would I trust him in the Premier League? No, I wouldn't. Cannon, I hope he does well, but he didn't get the chance last year to bed in because we hardly played him last year. That front line scares me.
Look, I reckon there's a player in there with Cannon. I still think he's worth hanging on to. There's a lot of times where I think he doesn't get service or he doesn't put himself in the right position. But let me say you one thing. Every single time that lad kicks the ball, he puts the fucking laces through it. And it's always on target as well. He in my opinion, I would still like to give him more of a run. I'm not saying
I agree with you 100% on that.
Let me say this though. I think our squad is weaker than it was last season, and we're now in the Premier League. That scares me. I think our manager, I'm still not happy with him, to be honest with you. I think he's not good enough, and I think that we should have gone for someone else, but I hope to be wrong again. So we've got a worse coach. We have got a weaker side in the Premier League, and we're making so far uninspiring signings. Now, it may be difficult with a points deduction hanging over our head. That might have a part to play with it. But in going to your question in terms of the front three, it doesn't. If Vardy's on his day and you've got Mavididi and Fatawu, that doesn't scare me. That's dangerous. I think that they're going to be chomping at the bit to prove themselves and establish themselves as Premier League players. So it's not actually really up front that scares me more. It's more we need attacking midfield. We need people to replace the likes of Dewsbury Hall. We have decent holding sixes. Centre backs, I don't know. We've got a lot now. I'm going off topic here, but what scares me more is attacking midfield.
All right, you've avoided it very, very well. You should be a politician. Mr. Daka, if Vardy's injured, and let's build up, as you look at it now, and I agree 100% about Cannon, we haven't seen the best of him yet. I think he deserved more game time last season. I have to say, though, you have just said, and I will just go off this slightly off track. You've just said that we've got a weaker manager in. Our manager last year could only draw with Wrexham and actually lost to Celtic after being 2-0 up. So I wouldn't necessarily say that, you know, we're missing him an awful lot at the moment. And I think it's hard to judge on the pre-seasons, isn't it? But keep Cannon. I think he could be brilliant. I think he just needs more time. He's young, etc. I think he could have been used more last season to get him ready for this season. All those times when Daka was awful, why wasn't Cannon being put on instead? For me, look, everything I've said about Daka, he's got to go, hasn't he?
He does, because, look, I'll give him his roses of one thing. His pace is incredible.
Yeah.
He's fast. He can draw people out of position. But the biggest thing for me is if you're a striker, what good is the pace if you can't put the ball in the back of the net? And he's really physically weak on the ball. And on top of that, because of his speed, he gets fouled a lot as well because people can't stop him. So they just foul him, and I just think that he could have been
we could sign Usain Bolt, and he can actually score if you have ever watched soccer.
A-League. He played in Australia.
Did he?
He did. He played in the A-League. He did. He did.
And was it? I mean, I don't know. And he's got the speed. He loves the football, and he doesn't know where the net is. Look, Daka. We've got to get over this 4 goals against Mexico, against Moscow. We have to get over that. That was one game. He was awful last season. Like I say, my defense of him wasn't the fact that I'm defending a player who's good. I was defending a player who I thought was getting a lot of unwarranted criticism when we wouldn't level that same criticism against Vardy. But I don't want him to start. He scares me. Yes, he's got the pace, but you've got to have the finish at the end of it. And when Iheanacho was used in his main... I mean, that season when it was him and Vardy both playing together, he was knocking them in for, like, love them. He was our top goal scorer that season. And the fact that we've let him go and we've kept Daka and we've kept Ayew, I'm just thinking, what the fucking hell is our transfer team doing? Our recruitment team who have got things right. Martin Glover, he found Fatawu, he found Mavididi. What the hell's he doing finding Cordova-Reid and Ayew? And yes, we haven't got the money, but still, I would sooner get the equivalent player here from, let's say, a Blackburn Rovers or even a Northampton than somebody that's that are younger. Like I say, where is Schmodic? But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a video. I was hoping the gentleman might be able to join us, but he's stuck at his mother's. So he very, very kindly did a pre-record. It's only 5 minutes long. This is, like I say, this is Richard from Eagle-Eyed Sports. Great fan of the channel. Great friend of the channel, I should say. And he does great content as well. I know he was up at about 3 in.the commentating on the Watford game, which was being played in America. But he got his time right, Luke. Sorry. But let's just see what he has got to say about Mr. Ayew. Here we go.
Well, big up everyone. This is Rich from Eagle-Eyed Football Crystal Palace fan channel, and Chris has asked me to give my viewpoints on the Jordan Ayew transfer situation. Now, for me personally, it's a polarizing sort of argument with Jordan Ayew at the moment, because you know what, last year he was very pivotal to us, especially under Roy Hodgson, where the team weren't playing well, but he definitely stepped up. But he's also a player who we feel that he's been overused, if that makes sense. We've had other talents coming through the door, like Francois. We've there's this over-reliance on like Schlupp and Ayew to start games when they should really be squad players at this moment in time, especially at their age. But we can't deny what he has done for us as a club. So let's go into this in a bit more detail. And granted, I'm sure we're both disappointed that we ain't got Matthias Sule. Obviously, he's on his way to Rome, as it seems. But I know both clubs, Palace and Leicester, were heavily linked with the player. So Jordan Ayew, I guarantee one thing he's going to offer you is hard work. Absolute hard work, and he gives everything for whoever he's playing for. He sets himself very high standards. He gets annoyed when he misses chances. You'll see that if you are to sign him, like, he doesn't smile a lot. It's a weird trait of his, but he just kind of just does his job. Even when he scores or assists, he may just kind of like not play it off, but doesn't always have a big smile on his face. Weird flex. Don't understand it. But that's what he will definitely give 100% for the team. Whatever position you play him, he can play up top. He can play on both flanks. He even had a stint under Vieira in centre mid as well, and he did a decent job there. So you'll get a player who will definitely just give his all. Whether you start him or not is another matter, but I guess him wanting to potentially leave Palace is due to the fact that he has actually gone down in the pecking order. We have just signed Ismail Sarr. We also signed Daichi Kamada, and plus Jezret Saki looks like he's on the way up from the academy to the first team. It looks like Jordan Ayew is going to be probably 6th choice winger for us, you know. Maybe we can play him as a third striker. We've got Mateta, we've got Edouard. He could be a third striker. I don't know, that could be an option. But he's the type that would want game time. Negatives, I guess it's probably going to be like, if you're looking at statistical, his output. I mean, he had a decent assist ratio. I think he got more assists than Elise last season. Granted, Elise had been out for half the season, but that shows how much of an input he had last season. I think he would want to score more goals, personally. But he's always been, like I said, he's always scored crucial goals for us, to be fair to him. What else? I think age is the biggest factor, though. If I was going to say a negative, age will be the biggest factor. And whether or not he's going to want to join you, is there guarantees he's going to start? I believe you got Ghanaian international Fatawa, who probably play on the right-hand side. I'm not too sure who plays on your left-hand side, so please correct me if I make any mistakes with that. But then again, he may go up top, because obviously you've lost Kelechi Iheanacho as well, who's gone to Seville. So, yeah, for me, like I said, work rate wise and stuff like that along those lines, yes, I am a bit sad to see him go. But I'll be completely honest with you, if we get any money for him, we've done well. That's just my personal opinion. He did sign a new contract, I think with the aim that we're going to let him go. 5 million, take that. Take 5 million, million pounds, yes. Obviously, he will no longer be us and he'll be playing against us, but I would say that would be good business considering his age and the profile of younger players that we're looking to bring up in the ranks. So, yeah, that's pretty much it regarding Jordan Ayew. I hope it answers your questions. If not, shout me. And I'm happy to obviously contribute towards that as well. But if you do get him, like I said, you're going to get a very hard-working player. He's going to give his all for the club. And, yeah. On that note, please take Jeffrey Slot back with you as well. You might as well. Just do we'll do a 2-for-1 for you. We'll do a 2-for-1. Take Jeff back. He's another one that might be out the door from Palace as well. But listen, it's good to have you lot back in the Premier League. Look forward to doing more regular content with you again, Chris, this season. And obviously chatting to more Leicester fans as the season goes on. Well, listen, for a Palace fan, I've got to say this. It's up to Palace. Eagles.
Thanks very much there to Rich. Eagle-eyed football, Crystal Palace channel. Lovely guy. Kind of says it all for me. Yes, hardworking gives it all. You expect that when you're paying somebody's wages anyway, don't you, Luke?
Yeah, what scares me most about that was the almost charity line at the end. It's like, if you were to sign him, that's good business for us. Yes. That does not fill me with confidence. That in a nutshell should be end of discussion. It's like saying, if we were to sign him in conjunction of Cordova-Reid, we're like fixing a broken down car with dodgy secondhand parts.
Yes. Yeah, well, no, totally.
To save money.
And certainly if they throw Jeffrey Slupp into the deal, 2-for-1, that should definitely stop us signing it. Jeffrey Slupp, I tell you what, there was when he was in the team, everybody in Row Z used to take insurance out in case that's where they hit him. Yeah, the line that stuck out for me, I think it's probably the same line. Get any money for him, we've done well. Get any money for him, we've done. And then up until then, I was thinking, well, all right, yeah, he gets goals, he gets crucial goals. Maybe bringing him on with 10, 15 minutes to go, he may have that experience to get that goal. You know what I mean? But is it worth, all right, let's say 5 million. Is it worth a punt for 5 million?
No way. No way. I am a strong no for this. I could be proven wrong about Cordova-Reid, but not this one. This is, for me, we've got too many people in that position already. If you want to talk about 10, 15 minutes as an impact sub, you would think that's Vardy's job. So I'm not interested at all, to be honest with you.
I do not get it at all. You know, no. Saul, I'm honest with you, I don't think we're ever being serious for Saul, because I think he was out of our price range. And look, we're not shopping as we were last time we were up in the Premier League. We're not shopping at Marks and Spencers anymore. We're back down to Tesco and occasionally Lidl. So we have to accept that. Sorry if I'm keeping you awake.
No.
I'm joking. But yeah, for me, the good thing is that we have got the youngsters coming through, and of course the youngsters we don't have to register in the squad, so that is something. But I just want to go off because Scott's in, and I just want to say hi, Scott. Edward, assume apologies for Spanish right. Crystal Palace for 1 year, left in his contract, but below the age of 30. We looked at him, though, before they signed him because he was at Celtic, and we did look at him, and we didn't go for him then. So,
listen,
now,
Scott, sorry, go on.
No, carry on, mate.
Sorry, mate. If you want to talk strikers that we should be looking at, they're under that age bracket, and also ironically from the Scottish League, is someone that was the highest. Odsonne Edouard, not really, that was a decent at Celtic. There's a striker that plays for Hearts of Midfield. My best friend is an absolute fanatical fan. Lawrence Shankland. He's got 1 year left in his contract. He was the highest scoring striker in the Scottish League in a poorer side, not in Celtic or Rangers, which, as we all know, is the only really two teams in that division. It's like shoot fish in a barrel. I would definitely sign him, mate, for a cheeky $5 million. I think he's 27 years of age. I can pull his stats up. We're not linked to him, so there's probably no point. But for you, Scott, that's someone to look at. Lawrence Shankland.
Oh, that's worth one watching. Dan, hi Dan from Durf Morehouse. Hiya, son. How you doing? You've been ignoring your old dad. I'll tell you. Where have you been? Where have you been? You've been down in the Championship again, haven't you? Well, it was nice waving at you. We've done it for 2 seasons, and who knows? We could well be waving at each other at the end of this season. You come back up and we go down again. But I hope you and all the family are well. Now, Scott did ask me actually a while ago, and I do apologise, Scott. I've been off from the radio this week, so I've been kind of not doing awful much. He did awful much. I've not been doing an awful lot. He did ask me how many homegrown players we've got in the squad. Now, youngsters don't have to be registered for the squad, and I don't think, I'm just looking down here, Luke Thomas, Ben Nelson, that's 2, Chowdhury 3, McAteer 4, Marchal 5. So that's 5 in the squad at the moment that you could say are homegrown players that are English or a bit like that, but have come through our system. I believe. I could be wrong on some of those. I'm just having a very quick look here. Hang on a second. Those two are having a conversation. Ivana, can't believe we'd have no decent 9 once we had Vardy, Koa, Ujoa. Those were the days. Roma have European competition. Yes, indeed. Leicester in a relegation fight. I can't see Tommy Abraham wanted to make such a drop. And that is the thing, isn't it, Luke? Is that what have we got to offer the bigger players? I don't think we could afford Tommy Abrahams. Otherwise, I would go over there and drive him here to sign the contract. But I don't think we can afford him. And that's going to be the problem. A, that. And B, they're going to look at this and go, hang on a second. What's happening with Leicester here? You know, I don't want to sign for a club that's going to go straight back down. And we have to accept that.
That's the worst part about it. I think we do have the money, but I think it's a matter of, like, we're kind of now forced to either overpay someone, which we've been known to do in the past to be able to get people here because we're not a big club, Seagrave or not. But what's worse is, as you said, are we going to get relegated? How big is the points deduction going to be? We all know, and I know he's not here anymore, that Enzo was a big part of being able to convince people to come down to the Championship with, like, you know, the likes of Winks, for example, because of his renowned ability as a coach and manager. So we no longer have that anymore. We now have Cooper. He's not inspiring from his time at Forest.
But we say that, but this was the guy that took Forest to a bottom of the league and Luke's in. And Luke is a lovely fan of his, a big fan of his, and a lot of Forest fans were, didn't want him to go when he went. And I know Mike, the Welsh fan, he wanted him to be the Welsh manager because obviously Cooper is Welsh. He took a Forest side that was bottom of the league and got them into the playoffs in the same season. Yes, and I know I'm going back a bit, but he did win the World Cup with the under-17s. But therefore, shouldn't he have an idea about some youngsters rather than these older people? Shouldn't he be able to look at that?
The time and place for that was last season, in my opinion. We were in the league below. We had a bit more leeway.
I tell you what, a very good point here from Scott.
Sorry to test. I know they were out of need.
You were breaking up then. I thought you were stopping, but you were breaking up and carried on. I didn't mean to talk over you there. But Scott says here, I'd love to see that player we signed from America to. Yes, he's been stuck at Luton. I don't know what's happening with that.
I think he got injured.
Oh, is he still injured?
I think he's injured.
But there we go. Right, a couple of players, and then I want to look at, and then I'll let you bring up and discuss a few. I don't think this is going to happen, but to be quite honest with you, I loved getting my own back on Arsenal and putting an Arsenal player in a Leicester shirt, because that's what they used to do with Maddison and Tielemans. They'd take him and put him in a Leicester. So I took my own back and put Nelson in a Leicester shirt there. Don't think he wants to come though, does he? But I'd be quite happy with him.
I'd be happy with him too. I've spoken to a lot of Arsenal fans and think there's definitely a player in there. It's just they've got too many players that are obviously a lot better than him in that position, unfortunately. But then again, if you don't want to come here, I'm not going to swear again.
No,
do one.
No. If you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here. Let's move on, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like with Potter. As I often said, if we've got to give somebody a blowjob to get them into the club, then they're not worth getting in. I'm sorry. Another couple that we were linked with from Celtic, who've obviously just taken Schmeichel, Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate. Now, I don't think these are out of the question because, no disrespect, and I know Celtic are one of the big two clubs. Whether Rodgers would want to do deals with Leicester or not is obviously the other question. But both good players, both have had very, very good write-ups, especially Hatate, who is the one on the left, by the way. Coming from Scottish football, I don't know how much Celtic would want, but the wages would not be a problem, I'm guessing, because let's be honest with you, not a lot of money in Scottish football, is there?
No, so I actually watch a decent amount of Scottish football. I'm well familiar with both these players, particularly Hatate. Okay. I rate him. I would be more than happy to sign him. I think he's a brilliant player. They've got a few Japanese lads there. Him and I think it's Furuhashi. I think he was the second scorer after that Lawrence Shanklin I mentioned earlier. Both great players. Hatate, I think they signed him for $1.5 million. And I think he's got 3 years left on his deal. O'Reilly is also in the Denmark international team. Brilliant player as well. I'd be happy with him, but I think he'd be a little bit more difficult to get over the line at this stage of their first games this weekend. So, it is. Yeah, it is. So, Hatate, definitely is one that I could see happening. I just haven't seen anyone really credible come out yet.
O'Reilly. It's a great Norwegian name, isn't it? That.
Yeah.
Or Denmark. I remember you said Denmark or Norway now.
He's some kind of Scandinavian, but he sounds like he's an Irishman with that name.
He does, doesn't he? Right, now this one, I was like, really? When I saw this one linked, and it's all gone very, very quiet. But Yvonne, well, that's going to get the piss taken out of him, isn't he? Yvonne Mavogo, the goalkeeper with Laurent in the second tier of French football. Look, I tried to do him with the goalkeeper's top on, and I couldn't do it. So he's just got the blue of Leicester there, which is why I've written goalkeeper down. Look, do we need another goalkeeper? Yes, I know Skolarczyk is injured until December. how many games is he likely to get as long as Hermansen stays fit? If Hermansen stays fit, he's going to be like another Schmeichel. And that was the problem with Ward, wasn't it? Is that Ward never got any experience because Schmeichel was never injured. So he got the odd Carabao Cup game that he might play, but I know he's been playing Danny Ward at the start, but do we need we're going to have a team, we're going to have a five-a-side team of goalkeepers soon.
Yeah, I'm not even fussed. I don't even want to entertain this. I'd rather Brad get a contract than this bloke. I don't know who he is.
Scott says there, do you think we missed a trick not signing Smith Rowe? I don't think he would have wanted to come. Again, I think he was another one that wanted London. That said, Fulham have done very, very well, and Fulham look to be really cashing in. I mean, they need another good season to follow on from last season. Yeah, we missed out, but he wasn't even linked with us, was he? O'Reilly would be perfect for you guys. I'd take either of those. Like I say, Hermansen's going to start every game, and there's going to be a couple of Carabao Cup games before we get, because we know the FA Cup's not going to be until January, when hopefully Solarchik will be back. But up until then, apart from a couple of Carabao games, when you could stick Iverson in, or even Ward, to be fairness, because that's what he used to do for us, we surely we're fine with goalkeepers, aren't we?
Yeah, I would think so. I think Iverson will go on loan. I like Iverson. I think he's a brilliant shot stopper. I just think he's woeful with his ball distribution. Danny Ward is a car crash. I hope he doesn't start at any point for the team, even in the Carabao Cups or FA Cup game. Bench him. And he just kept wasting our money. That's what he seems pretty content on doing. I don't think we need another goalkeeper. In my opinion, I don't even think we needed another centre-back unless we're getting rid of Wout Faes or one of these other centre-backs. I think we really need an attacking midfielder, and that's the only, or a striker, and that's what we should be concentrating and focusing on.
Well, talking of centre-backs, and here we go into the realms of me not having any artwork ready, Sutar could be on the way out, the latest rumours are. He's going to be the one that we're looking to offload.
Yeah, I think he's a really decent squad option. Coley looked a lot better in his last game, and again, it's a preseason friendly, but the first game, he scared me, and I was like, oh, God. Harry Sutar can be brilliantly utilised in set pieces. He's not the greatest of ball distribution, but he's not horrible. And he had Harry Kane in his back pocket in that one game in Tottenham, if you remember, in the Premier League. So for me, I'm not just saying this because of his Australian ties of his mother, but I would rather hang on to Sutar than let him go.
Well, I have no kinship with him at all. I like him. I think he offers something that Vestergaard doesn't. Look, Vestergaard's got his ball distribution. That's his one gold star in his locker, if you like. Apart from that, I'm not going to be confident with Vestergaard in the Premier League. I'm really not. When we look at the defenders, and let's have a look at centre-backs. We've got Faes, Cody, Sutar, Vestergaard, Nelson, and Okoli now, or Okoli, however you want to pronounce it. I prefer Sutar to Faes. I think Faes has got a mistake in him. I'm not Faes' biggest fan. And what I think Sutar offers that Vestergaard doesn't is he knows where the net is at the other end.
Yes, we've seen it a lot, particularly when he plays for Australia. Granted, it's a lower level. But yeah, I'm with you, mate. Faes can be a scary liability tracking his man sometimes. You could even put JJ as one of the centre-backs, left-sided centre-back. We have been playing with a back three, but I think you could afford, if you were to play wing-backs, if you like, so if you have a Pereira or JJ in front of the back three, you could make up for a lack of pace because as it stands. Faes is the only decent one of those big centre backs that has some pace to him. Mm-hmm. So that's what scares me as well, Vestergaard, in terms of pace. We're not going to have as much time on the ball as we did last season.
No, and I agree 100% with you. And I think it was ridiculous giving him a 3-year contract with his age. That was Enzo's leaving present for us, wasn't it? And I think if Enzo had been here, we might have seen. And look, when Enzo comes to the board and says, "I want to give Vestergaard a 3-year contract. He's part of my plans," we're not going to say no to him because he had a good season last season, and we're thinking, that Enzo's going to be our manager going forward. I don't think he'll be Chelsea's manager going forward, if I'm honest with you. Nelson, I think, will go out on loan. I could see Nelson going out on loan, definitely. I don't think we should sell Nelson because I think there's a good player in there. Justin can play centre-back, but I don't think he will. I think he will play on either of the wings, and that's his plus, that he can play either side. Ricardo on the right wing, but he can go forward. Justin on the left, but if he's not playing, he could move further up, and you've got Christensen if we're playing wing-backs. I'd love to see Christensen back in the side. Luke Thomas, I think he's going. I think I've seen him in the friendlies, and I don't think he offers anything. I think it is time, and I appreciate everything he did for us, but I think it's time for him to go. And of course, Ricardo, we know what he can do. So yeah, I would definitely keep Souttar, definitely. Yeah, it could be a loan. He's been linked with a loan out. I just like Souttar. I just think I think if we does loan out and then with an option to buy, I just think he could be the one that we say that's another one that got away. That's my feelings on Souttar. Cody, it's nice to see him though. I think Cody could actually end up being a starter. I think the starting two could be Cody and or FaZe another.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Vestergaard gets caught out of his pace, I can easily see Cody being that middle of that back three. I thought he's looked decent in the preseason, but I actually can see Cody being an established starter for us this season. The biggest question for me is who's going to be alongside them, whether it be FaZe or Coley. All indications seem to be, my opinion, of a rough guess right now, it's going to be a Coley on the left, Vestergaard in the middle to begin with, or Cody, and then FaZe on the right.
Yeah. I mean, Coley's passed his entrance exam with flying colours and got an own goal, so it will be fine. Okay, anybody you want to talk about, Luke?
Have you spoke about that Colombian lad yet? That we've been linked with?
No. Well, who is this Colombian lad we've been linked with?
Rios, his name is something. I'm just drawing a blank here. Sorry, mate. It's a bit late here. I think it's Richard Rios. I think. Hang on, let me just look this up. Richard. I think West Ham are interested in him as well. Yep, that is it. Richard Rios, central midfielder who plays for Palmeiras, and he had a decent run out in the Colombian national team. Granted, it's tournament football. He's been linked with us, and he's also been linked with West Ham, and he is 24 years old. That is an attacking midfielder, or a central midfielder. So that's someone that we definitely need. He has been linked with the club. Richard Rios is his name. I can share it on screen if you need me to.
And I've got it. I'm just brought him up here. West Ham, yes, they are interested. 12 million, so it's not out of our price bracket, I would tend to say. We're not going to be competing with the 25, 30 million pounds. 12 million is not out of our price bracket. The problem you've got is Everton are also interested in him. This is obviously depending which website you go on. West Ham are interested in him. It says here, so are Man United. And I mean, Everton are looking for a replacement for Onana. He looks very good. I mean, he's age 24, so he's probably too young for us. That's the only thing, maybe we need to go back to him in 8 years' time. Central midfielder, Easy said he was amazing in the Copa. A very good point Easy makes here is coming back might be like the new signings. Exactly. And I was reading a thing in the Mercury today, Sumare and Christensen, they've starting with clean sheets, they've got the chance to make the mark. Is this And when we're looking at midfielders, I think we only need one midfielder, and that is the Dewsbury Hall replacement. And Cooper's come out and said this, hasn't he, Luke? That we need that.
Yes,
That's the position, and he accepts that. He knows that. Is this? Do you think is he a Dewsbury Hall replacement?
I don't think we can get a Dewsbury Hall like for like stack, drive, passion replacement.
No,
it could be.
No. I'm on about positionally wise.
Yeah, definitely. I think O'Reilly, if you want to give me, like, if you say, Luke, for all the players you've been linked with, who do you think is the best option? It would be O'Reilly because he's left-footed and a midfielder as well.
That I would love. And I think the thing as well, and I'm just looking up to see if there's any more news, and there's not. Would a player from Celtic come to Leicester? Yes. And unless his only option is that I want to win as many trophies as I can, because let's be honest with you, Schmeichel's going to get a few extra trophies going up there now, isn't he? You know, and good luck to him. Good luck to him. I love Casper to bits. Moving from, and I don't care what the guy, Chris Sutton said. Going from Celtic to Leicester in the position we're in now is a good move. Going from Palermo to Leicester, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we would be big enough to attract him. Do you?
It's the Premier League, best league in the world, in my opinion. We need to roll the red carpet out at Seagrave. If you disregard all the things we have looming over our head, point seduction, whatever, Seagrave is top of the art, state of the art, top notch facilities, world class, some of the best in England. It definitely has to play a part, especially if bringing these lads over. Like maybe they're interested, bring them over for a medical. They see the place. Oh wow, this looks amazing. Maybe we can woo these people. I don't know what Rudkin does, but I'd be getting people in as soon as they can, see the place. What do you guys want? Oh, we want 10, 15 million. Cool, here's 15. Take it. Let's sign the paper. Let's go. Let's move on. Not give any other club a chance to sniff. And maybe that's some of these signings, to be fair, as well as the goats that did come out of nowhere. Coley and Cordova-Reid came out of nowhere. So maybe we're doing a lot of business that we don't know about already, and it's just quiet behind closed doors.
We will be doing, and like I mentioned Rudkin at the start, if you want to know about John Rudkin, get onto the Athletic, onto the Leicester City page, or onto the basically go onto the Leicester City page, and there is a great story by Rob Tanner, and he has his own page as well, and it says all about Rudkin. Rudkin does not choose the players. Rudkin does not say, I think you should sign this player, or I'm going to sign this player. Rudkin will act on what the manager, Martin Glover, and the recruitment team tell him to do. So all these people that come on and go, Rudkin's doing this, and it's another shit Rudkin signing, basically talking out their arse, because that isn't his job, And I'm sorry, it pisses me off. If he was shit at his job, Top would have got rid of him by now. And he's come through from a coach who came to Leicester working for nothing part-time after he did his job to being one of the, Top's most trusted lieutenants. He does, and he worked, we paid too much for him. Not Rudkin's problem. He's told his budget that he can go up to. We're paying him too much every week. Not his problem. It's, he has budgets to work.
Hang on a minute. How long should have Rodgers been sacked before he got sacked? Because he just said that if he was rubbish, that Top would have got rid of Rudkin. Why didn't Top get rid of Rodgers like 2 months before he was gone? Why are these people? I understand what you're saying. It's Glover that's probably scouting out these people first. I agree. I understand what you're saying. It's not Rudkin that's picking and scouting these players, but it's Rudkin that's giving them these ridiculous contracts, like 3 years to Cordova-Reid, 3 years to Yannick Vestergaard.
He can't do that without permission. Rodgers didn't go because Rodgers was not going to walk, and Top, because he wouldn't have got a payoff, and Top felt that he'd let Rodgers down the previous summer with no signings until Fofana left, and wanted to give him the chance. That is the only reason Rodgers lasted as long as he did, because Klopp felt guilty at not backing him in the summer. And you got to say, all right, you know, let's look about. I mean, have Man United ever made any bad signings? Surely not with Alex Ferguson being their manager. They must have made some. I mean, they never bought a goalkeeper that would let the ball go through his legs, would he? No, of course they wouldn't. Even the best people get it wrong sometimes. And he signed and he got Fatawu in. He got Mavididi in. Vardy, Mahrez, Kante, Maguire, who we made money on. You know, so hang on. Does anybody ever praise him for doing that? He does not. He can't go and offer Cordova-Reid a 3-year contract on 20 grand a week unless he knows that is what. Now, he may have gone to him and gone, he might have said, I need more than a 2-year. I can get a 2-year here at Fulham. So he would have gone away and come back and said, can't get him on a 2-year. And they said, all right, you can go and offer him a 3. He has to work within those parameters, you know. I just want to quickly say hi to Rich. Sorry, just very quickly. Eagle-Eyed Football. Rich, I played it earlier, mate. It was brilliant. Thank you so very much. You've completely filled us with apathy about this player. But I appreciate that. Hope your mum and your family are all well. Take care, buddy, and thanks for the video. Sorry, mate, you were going to say.
I was just going to say, if you're still watching Eagle, it was like you started that video with like an insightful leaning on towards a good pitch for him, and then you ended it with if we can get any money for him, that's good business. So in a nutshell, that did not fill us with confidence. So it was a great video. Thank you for that. It was good to watch. It was funny though. Mate, I don't know. I agree with everything you're saying about Rodkin. Yeah, you're right. Like, and I did think you were going to come back to me and say that as devil's advocate, like, but he's maybe forced to scrape the barrel a little bit and give these extra extra long contracts, or in the past of saying people giving a little bit more money just to get it over the line and get him in. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I just feel like there's been radio silence, a lot of decisions this season. You know, Enzo not even saying goodbye. No explanation for why we had to get rid of Dewsbury Hall. There's a lot of things that the club's done the last 2 seasons that have been very questionable.
Dewsbury Hall was the PSR. You know, we got.
I know, but the club should have come out and said something.
I think it was known, though.
Okay, hang on a minute. You
We
want to talk about John Rodkin?
Well.
Did you?
No, sorry. Carry on, mate.
Sorry. Did you just see that Leicester came out? Did you just see that Leicester came out in the last 10 years or 10 seasons? We have had the fifth, it was either 5th or 7th highest income for players out of everyone in the Premier League. And we're not even a big six club. Where's that money gone? John Rodkin's responsible for that.
No, he's not.
What a waste of money.
He's not a treasurer. He's not a treasurer. Look, I used to manage a department, a sales department within a company. Above me, I had 2 more managers. 3 if you go outside my local branch. If one of my staff left, I knew how much I would have to spend on that person, right? So let's say I'm allowed 30 grand a year, just out of plucking the figure out their head. And there's somebody I really want, and they come, but they're on 32,000 where they are. Are they going to come for 30,000? No, they're not. But if I go back to my boss and go, you know what? It's going to be worth. Give him 33. Give him 35. It's going to be worth it. It is really going to be worth it. Then they might say, "Okay, on your head be it."
I'm still here.
Yeah, but if I was to go back and go, "Oh yeah, I've got somebody. It's 35," I'll be sacked for not sticking within my budget guidelines.
I see what you're saying, but can you just not deny me my scapegoat and someone to point the finger and get mad at?
No, this is what he is. This is what he is. Look, it's the same with players.
I know what you're saying. I'm just winding you up.
Yeah, over the years, we've had players that we love to pick on. Chilwell, Daka, you know, there's always been a player. Chilwell were having a go at when he was England's #1 left back, but he wasn't good enough for us, apparently. We've always got to have one player that we hate on, otherwise we wouldn't be a Leicester City fan. And look, we're not a club where, we don't talk to people. They don't come out and wash their linen in public or make public statements. That's just not Leicester. Right or wrong, I don't think it's right at all. I think they should come out and explain more. I think if they'd come out and said in that summer where they didn't give Maguire any money to come out, to go out and spend, if they'd come out and said, look, we've got to watch PSR because of Europe and what have you, so we can't give him any money to spend, all the fans would have gone, understand it. We know where you're coming from. But they didn't until the day of the transfer window, by which time we were all pissed off and we're not going to be happy. So, yes, we like a scapegoat. And Rudkin is that scapegoat. And it just annoys me when everybody gets Rudkin out. Hang on. Manager out. Let's hang on. Susan Whelan out. You may or may not want her out anyway. The recruitment team out. Top out. Because at the end of the day, the book stops with him. I'm sorry. In any organisation, you've all got responsibilities. And you've all got budgets to work to. Chris Florian, news at 10, Leicester. Let's just catch up with a few comments here. Easy says there's a good free agents. There are. Question for how many players do you think Leicester City signed? We'll come back to that. It's a good question. I'll come back to that, Scott. I've just started. Rich, what I really meant by that is we've moved on, and the age of our players have decreased. Doesn't mean he won't fit you. And just like I say, as long as we don't play on a Thursday night, because they'll all be down the post office getting the pension. I think, in fairness, it didn't help having all of Rodgers' backroom staff in, especially his scout and medical team. Since then, we've been in a rebuilding process. I didn't mean Rodgers or Enzo. I'm not sure there. Slimani, and yeah, thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. R.I.P. Craig Shakespeare. A Marty or Brad's personal favourite. Look, the manager that came in, we all hated Vestergaard before Enzo suddenly turned him into primetime Messi. And a manager comes in and gives players a chance, plays a different system, other players fit in, the players he wants to sign aren't the players that the predecessor wanted to sign. It's all down to the manager saying what positions he wants to fill. And I tell you what, nobody will pick, unless you manage Chelsea, nobody will pick those players for you if you are a decent manager. If you come back to Steve Cooper and say, Steve, you wanted a left back, we've got you him. He would be going, what the fuck you got him for? It's rubbish. You'd be coming back to Steve Cooper and saying, do you fancy A, B, C, or D? And he'll say, I fancy B. Right, let's go out and get B. Coming back, he wants more money than we're prepared to pay him. He wants a longer contract. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, mate. You just love
I'm
being
sorry,
devil's advocate.
You poke the bear there. You poke the bear. And you know what you get.
I did it on purpose.
Well, I know you did, you bastard. Right, we're going to make this the last question. How many more players do you think Leicester City sign before the end of this summer's window? Don't know how many will sign. I think we need a striker. I think we need a Dewsbury Hall replacement. And I think possibly a left-footed centre-back. I don't think the centre-back is the be-all and end-all, but the other two positions are. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment, mate, and a good question, Scott, as always. Really good to have you always tuning in. I think the left-footed solution from the defense will come down to Victor Christensen, potentially. That's one option to fulfill that. I know he's not a centre-back, but he could play in front of a centre-back. He doesn't want to play a back three, already know, but he actually got played there for a little bit in the preseason. But I agree with you. And to answer the question, I think two. I think another striker. If we don't get another striker, I think it's most crucial that we get a few more attacking midfielders. So I think two is my answer. Whether it be a striker and a midfielder or both midfielders, I don't know. But two people is my pick.
And then assess where we are in January, because in January we'll probably know more where we stand points-wise.
Yep.
Although it was good to see Manchester City finally getting punished for being naughty, doesn't it? £2 million. Wow.
Is that it? Is that the conclusion, or is it still ongoing?
No. They got fined for their players always coming out late for the second half and for kick-off, and they got fined £2 million. But let's be honest with you, that's equivalent to 50p to me and anybody else in this country. I don't think I don't think the Premier League is sending out a very big message there with that one. But no, that is what I agree. Those are the two positions, and then let's wait until January because we have got some decent youngsters coming through. Alves has looked good in the pre-season as well, hasn't he?
Alves is one that I really hope kicks on, and I think you said it best. If you're good enough, you're old enough. The only reason I kind of wanted to see him go on loan was because we didn't see him play at all in the Championship, which I thought was the best opportunity for him to develop, but he had a knee injury for the majority of the season. So I would hope Alves comes good. And if things are dire in January, I'm with you, mate. Maybe splash a bit of cash. Yes. And let me end it with this if we get Scott's question up. I don't think he's going to get the English
question that he just asked. Do you mean
bring in?
Oh, that question. Sorry.
No. The next one. I was just going to say before you read that. Can you see? This is my last question.
Okay.
If things are dire in January, and I don't think he's going to get the England job, do you think Potter says yes in January?
I wouldn't want him now.
No, I wouldn't want it.
He can fuck off and die as far as I'm concerned. Like I said earlier, if you've got to give somebody a blowjob to get them to come and manage your club, then they're not worth having. Would you marry a prostitute? No, you wouldn't, would you? Well, I don't know. You may well do. And please do not think I'm saying anything about Steph here whatsoever. I'm not. I'm just saying you wouldn't know. Well, I don't know, but most people wouldn't, if you know what I mean. Maybe it was a bit of a rash comparison there. But no, I don't. I wouldn't want Potter anywhere near this club, and I sincerely hope the FA don't get the job. And I'll say this now: if the FA give the England job to Potter, I am not doing any England content whilst he's manager.
I'm clipping that.
I'm going to end with this one. What do you think of the new shirt, mate? The away shirt.
I like it, but it also looks like you just stood for a lineup and like a Mardi Gras party just like shot you with paintball guns. That's what I'll say.
Do you not think that? And I got this. And I love the fact that I ordered it and look, no sponsor on it.
Yeah, that was a good call. That I just ordered the white and black training kit and the new home kit, and it cost me with postage Aussie dollars $262 for the two shirts. And I got to say this though, I don't like the way they fit compared to the last. I really like the away shirt from last season. That was my favorite.
Yes, the blue, the black.
I like the one you're wearing though. Yeah.
And I think the problem is, and I think it's good. I mean, I didn't even get the option whether I wanted. The only option I got on was, did I want the Premier League on? So I paid a £5 for that because we're back in the Premier League. Next season, if we're still up, I wouldn't get that on. The way I look at it is I'm fed up with blue. I've got so many blue shirts. I'm not going to spend 70 quid on a blue shirt. I like this. And the problem you've got is how many colours do you go for? We haven't got many colours left. We've had black, we've had white, we've had yellow, we've had red, we've had green, we've even had pink, I mean, the only colour that's left to go for a shirt is brown, and we ain't going for a brown shirt.
No, that's gross. I don't fancy brown or green.
What I like about this is I haven't seen any other club come out with a shirt with this sort of design on. So it might, rather than it being like a standard one where sorry, Scott's comments just put me off there. I don't think I think this is quite unique to us, if you like. But no, I'm not going to buy the blue. I bought this, and the fact that it hasn't got the bet on, which I think they have now, whether that was a mistake or not, I don't know. But I'm quite happy because I don't like the Pac-Man thing. Ant is in, is the channel. You're late, Ant. Did you bring a letter from your mother? And Scott says, I just want to clarify, Chris, does this mean you would not want Potter's babies if he became manager in the future? I don't want, I think if he comes in the future, I think it will mean that he's desperate or something, because obviously the next job he takes will end his Chelsea wages and pay off. And look, he's had the chance. He's had 3 chances now, is it, to come to us? And each time he's turned us down. Fuck off, Potter. You know, do what your namesake does. Go and make yourself fucking disappear. I want you anywhere near this club. You know.
I love winding you up.
Am I pretty clear there? I know he is.
Yeah.
I know he is. But Luke, thank you so very, very much. Should they, talking about shirts, Monday night, 7 o'clock, it's the Shit Shirt Show. And it will not be called that on YouTube, because every time I call it that on YouTube, I get demonetized on it. So it's going to be the Premier League Shirt Show. We're going to be doing all the home and aways. Is that this Monday? In fact, I might be telling a lie.
That sounds like a show for Brad, mate, to be fair.
It is. God, we're in August already. No, it's a week on Monday, the 12th of August, the Shit Shirt Show with Doug. And then on that Tuesday the 13th, we've got the league prediction show with Rob Tanner, when we'll be doing our predictions for everybody who finish in the league. Wednesday, it will be Let's Talk Leicester season preview. The Thursday will be the review show for the Spurs match. And the Friday will be the prediction show itself with Brad and Dave. So if you haven't joined the prediction league yet, follow Full Time Focus, which is Brad. It's all one word, Full Time Focus on X. Get yourself in. Luke's in there. Waiting just to get Kate in. But if you haven't joined yet, do join. Just for fun, no prize, because I got dumped in it big style by a certain person this year. Promising prizes are not coming through. Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot, James. But on Saturday, we have got the watch along, which I believe you were joining us for.
Yes, I will be there for halftime, and I should be there for after. I'll talk to you after this as well, but I'll definitely be there for halftime, mate. And I've just got to have dinner with me mum tomorrow, and smoking a bunch of meat, which would be nice. And then I should be back in time for the game.
God, it's Friday today, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, I'm in the doing the lottery numbers. It's 11:15 at night on Friday.
Please. No, I'm just like, I can't believe it's Friday. That's the week
Yeah,
gone.
it's mad, isn't it?
It is. Check out Leicester City Down Under. The link is in the description below for Luke. Get over there and give him your love and kindness. And I will see you tomorrow then, Luke. And thank you very much for joining us.
No worries, mate. Thank you for having us on, and thank you to, I think it was Eagle Eye. Sorry, I don't remember the channel's name, but thank you for that video. It was a good
Rich from Eagle Eye Football. Yes.
Shout out to that lad as well. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. Speak to you in a sec. Oh, let me make myself big. There we go. There you go. Without the aid of Viagra or a safety net. There you go. Thank you so much to Luke for joining me at the last minute and helping me out. Really do appreciate that. And thanks so much to Rich. Wasn't able to make it. Family commitments. And as I always say, family work, anything like that always comes first. But I would like to thank Rich. Eagle-Eyed Football, big Crystal Palace fan channel, big friend of this channel. Do get over there and give him your support as well. Thanks to James for modding. He's been in. And thank you to everybody that's watched. Scott, I hope that answered your question about the homegrown players bit. Let me know if I did or I didn't. But thank you to everyone who has watched and those that have listened via their favourite podcast platform. If you're a member, thank you for your continued support. It really does help the channel. It's $1.99 a month, and it does keep the channel growing, which, like anything else, costs are going up. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. That really helps us, and click that notification show so you will never miss a show again. Talking of which, our next show is tomorrow, and I believe, let me just check the time, because it's a funny kickoff time tomorrow. Yeah, we kick off at 2:30, but we are playing it in Germany, so we will be here from 2 o'clock. I will see you then. Thank you very much. This has been LTID TV. I've been Chris, And you know what? I'll be back. He says if you can press the right button.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.